Tēnā koutou YouTube, tēnā koutou katoa. So looking at today at a matau fish hook Snood style lashing. This one here's got a whale's tail on it obviously, but this is the top part here which we're looking at. This one has a hole in it. You can see my other video that hasn't got a hole in it, which is a bit of a different technique that I've been using for that. You can see how the how I've carved the end here with the hook at the bottom to bind the lashing onto. A couple of grooves in here for the cords that will be plaited, the necklace cord. So let's get into it. So first thing I'm going to do is do my whipping. Now it's pretty hard to see on this video how it actually works, which is why I made another video which explains this process in a lot more detail. So I've made a loop. I'm going to do the whipping up here. Now when I'm doing this whipping, the long piece of thread, this one here, this goes back to my spool at the moment. I'm just heading down towards where I'm going to do the lashing, because that's the part I'm going to do the lashing with. So let's make sure I've got my threads lined up in the right place. Make sure I'm whipping with the right ones. One, two, three, 4, 5. You should get to here, and this at the start it's a little bit loose. So if I find the other end of the whipping, which is the short piece in here, I give it a bit of a tug to make that secure. 6, 7, trying to keep these tangles down and away from where I'm working. 7, how's that? Let's do 8. 8 I think would be okay. Now this is always the tricky part where you're trying to keep your whipping nice and tight because we haven't finished it. We need to untangle the mess we've made down the bottom before we can pull the whipping through. Awesome. Okay, so now I'm swapping hands with it to secure the whipping. Focus, there we go. And I'm pulling on my long end now to pull it all through. Making sure that I don't pull any tangles through and get it all tangled up. Right, so here's our whipping. So now we want to slide that down onto the top. Like so. Now once it's on top we can tighten it up. Alright, there's the whipping, there's the start. Okay, now for this next bit, I'm going to just work out how much cord I need, and then we'll be back in. So what I just did was I went through and just did a practice lashing around all of this. While this cord was still attached to the spool, so I could chop it off, because for the way I do these, you can't do it while it's attached to the spool because of this step we're going to do now. So I'm just putting it through to the end. So First thing I do, so take this end and I thread it back down through the hole. The reason I do this is because it helps keep the whipping and the subsequent lashing anchored firmly down. I mean, it'll be less likely to slip off. So now we're going down and up. Okay, now we are ready to start the lashing. So the lashing process starts around the top. It's right around the top and then down. Now I'm just working out where the pull through cord's going to go. So I've got a black pull through cord today. Now what we want it to go, I think it's underneath that first side there. We'll see in a second if we're on the wrong side. For the pull through at the end, because it will be coming around and back over the top, and it makes it, well, what I think is the best place for the pull through cord. So around the top, down, under this side, then back up and over here. Is that going to be the right side? No, it's on the wrong side. So all we're going to do is swap that out and move it over to here. That will hopefully make more sense at the end. Okay, then we come up for our first cross at the top. Now that cross is quite important, because wherever that is centered, if it's left or right, then the line of crosses, which is a pretty big aspect of this, we'll be following it. So always try and make sure it's in the middle if you want symmetry. Okay, so up that way, around again, underneath. Let's tighten it up a little bit. Is that cross looking? Okay, and down for our second cross. Okay, these first ones, like I said before, are pretty important. All right, let's come around. Keep trying to keep this stuff here out of the way. Okay, coming back up and around. Starting to look good. Okay, let's rock and roll. So just like when you're doing a talkie lashing, it's a really good idea to try and keep your braid flat. It's not a round braid, it is a kind of a flat braid. So, and as you're laying it down, it can twist. And while it's a bit of a perfectionist thing, I think trying to keep it flat gives a nicer overall appearance at the end. And so we just keep going around and around, following our lines now. The shape of the pounamu, where the lashing is going on, is really crucial to how this lashing ends up. There's more than one way of doing it, lots of different ways of doing it. But it will have a big impact on what it actually looks like in the end. My pull-through cord is just starting to get a bit too high up here, so I'm just going to slide it back down. We want it down near the end over here. So I'm just going to maneuver it back into place. Good. Good. Okay. can see our lashing really starting to take shape now. I'm just going to pause it for these last couple of lashes, nothing new coming up. Okay, so coming up to the last round here. Now I like to go, well, for this one I'm going to go pretty much all the way through until the piece sticking out the end is kind of symmetrical, making a bit of a diamond or a square. That's what I think looks good for this one. Now we're going to do the pull through. So this is why I changed the pull through at the start, because what we've got here, this is where our cord's coming through, and I'm going to pull it through underneath all of these layers here, so it comes up over the top and then it disappears straight down underneath those. Now my cord is a little bit longer than what it needs to be, so I'm going to trim that. Keeping pressure so that my lashing doesn't unravel. Slide that down into our pull through. Make it tight. Okay, so now the moment of truth. It's always a part I get a bit nervous about, putting a bit of pressure on the pounamu. I have snapped a few at this time. I even snapped the cord at the wrong time, which means I have to start the whole thing again. So let's see how we're going to go with this. Let's try it with my hands first. Okay. Okay, we've got it through. It's not come through on the right angle. So now we're going to try and just maneuver it over. So it can hide seamlessly in amongst the rest. Now there are other options in this for a pull through, and depending on what you like or what you think is best, you could have it coming straight back up underneath all of these crosses here. The reason I try to stay away from that is because it can be really tight and hard to pull it up through that, but it is an option. There we go. Tuck that one up under there. Now see if we can get a snip the end. There is our lashing. Voila. All that's left to do now is to sort out these necklace cords and do a 3 plait with them. I should be able to see a link for those attached to this video as well, or in the comments below, how to do a 3 plait if you're not sure. Alright, that's all for now. Thanks for watching, especially if you stayed the whole length. Well done. Hit me up with any questions you have down in the comments below, or you can get in touch on Facebook through Facebook Messenger. Ngā mihi koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.